Is it possible to ride 200 roller coasters in 1 year without being a full-time roller coaster vlogger? That's what I'm here to find out, and I've got a plan. It involves going to 20 different theme parks in 15 different states in 2 different countries. And while it all sounds like fun and games, I'm discovering I might encounter a few tiny, huge obstacles. But let's back up for a second. Who am I? Why am I trying to do this? And why now? Well, I love theme parks and I love roller coasters. But if you may have noticed, I'm a bigger guy. And unfortunately, roller coasters are not made to accommodate everyone, especially fat. It's okay. You could just say it. We all know we're fat. Flashback about 15 years ago, I took a trip to Six Flags, New England, and I was all hyped up to ride on Batman: The Dark Knight. I waited forever in line, got up to the platform, got in the seat, and then they just couldn't get that restraint to close and get that click that you need in order to ride. So the attendant looked me in the eyes and quietly said, "I'm sorry, man." And I had to get up and walk out and do the walk of shame past all of my friends as they went off to ride and have a good time. And honestly, in that moment, I felt so embarrassed that I didn't even want to try to ride any roller coasters after that. I kind of forgot about them. I gave up on them. And for another decade of my life, I didn't ride a single roller coaster aside from some lighter fare at a place like Disneyland. Now, in that time, my body got a lot bigger, got a little smaller, got bigger, got smaller, as bodies tend to do. But then one day, we took a fateful trip to Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. And to be honest, I was equal parts excited and dreading this Universal trip because I knew that they had real deal roller coasters there, and I had not tried to fit on one in such a long time. I did not want a repeat of the Six Flags incident. But slowly, one by one, I approached those tester seats and I was able to ride not just one, but every single coaster in the park. That first ride was something magical. I got emotional, I teared up during it, I cried afterwards, and as corny as it might sound, it felt like I had a little piece of my life back. More than anything, it rekindled a love of roller coasters and lit a fire inside me. Quick disclaimer here, this is not a weight loss inspiration channel. I'm not gonna show you before and after photos. I'm not here to tell you what you should do with your body. I'm not gonna tell you what I did to change my body. And this is certainly not an invitation for unsolicited health and fitness advice. But I did think it would be important to give you context as to why I, a 40-year-old theme park loving, horror movie watching, escape room fanatic enthusiast of all things immersive and thrilling, am just starting out now trying to ride 200 coasters within 1 year with a blank slate. Is this a midlife crisis? Am I realizing that just now this is a midlife crisis? Back in the garage, it is time to talk strategy. How am I going to be able to ride 200 coasters in 1 year? Well, that Universal trip already knocked out 7 coasters, and then before I decided to start documenting this journey, I did go to Six Flags over Georgia, and over the course of a couple of visits, I have been able to ride 8 of the 12 coasters. So, if my math is correct, that means I've already done 15 coasters. During that trip to Six Flags, I purchased a season pass, which is good for every single Six Flags park. And I'm not gonna be able to hit up all of them this year, but I for sure know that I'll be able to get to about 7 of them over the course of my travels. And if I am able to ride every single coaster that these parks offer, then that will be an additional 82 coasters, bringing my total up to 101. Next, I will purchase a season pass with all park passport add-on to Cedar Fair parks. This allows me access to every single Cedar Fair park. I believe that I will be able to visit 9 of them during the course of this year. If I am able to ride every single coaster that those parks have to offer, that is an additional 103 coasters. For those of you playing along at home, that brings us up to a grand total of 204 coasters. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Isn't this whole endeavor going to require a ton of time off of work and expensive travel? Are you independently wealthy? Are you retired? Like, how can you possibly make this work if you're not like a full-time YouTube vlogger guy trying to do this? Well, this is where I do have a bit of an advantage. I essentially travel for a living. I run a small clothing line, and almost every weekend of the year, I'm at a different festival in a different state. So no time off for travel is required because traveling is my work. And since I travel almost everywhere in my trusty van here, and there's a bed inside, I don't have to pay for hotels either. Now, I have identified 5 major obstacles that might prevent me from riding all of these rides at these parks. Number 1. I might not be able to fit on all of these coasters. As it stands, I'm currently really on that line of what's an acceptable body size to fit on these coasters. I'm usually getting that last click from the harness. And despite the fact that I've had good luck thus far, I don't know if that will continue. And spoiler alert, during that trip to Six Flags Over Georgia, there was 2 coasters that I was not able to fit on. Number 2, every single coaster might not be open during my visits to these parks. We all know they go down constantly, they're closed for maintenance, they're getting refurbished. There's a whole host of issues that might make a coaster never open up during the entire time that I am there. Six Flags Over Georgia, I've been there 4 or 5 times, and there's still 2 coasters that have not been open a single time that I've been there. And number 3, the weather. This is something out of my control, something out of the theme park's control. During a lot of my travels, I'm only gonna have 1 day, maybe 2 days. If the weather doesn't play in my favor during that very narrow window that I have to visit these parks, I'm gonna be out an entire park. That could set me back 5, 10, 15 coasters, and that would be disastrous. Number 4, scheduling. When I first dreamt up this whole scheme, this whole challenge, I thought that I would be able to leisurely visit these parks for, 2, 3, 4, 5 days during the middle of the week, which is my downtime in between these events that I am traveling to. But then I started to look at the schedules for these parks, and I was smack in the face with reality. Unlike Universal, most of these parks are not open 365 days a year. For example, let's take a look at Six Flags Over Georgia's 2024 operating schedule. The only time that they are open 7 days a week is in June and July. Outside of that, it's mainly weekends, and somehow that does not even include Friday nights. And no 2 park schedules are exactly the same. Cedar Point is open most days of the week, but only for 6 months of the year. 3.5 hours south, Kings Island is open 9 months of the year, but with significant gaps in the schedule. Needless to say, planning this has been a logistics nightmare, and as far as strategy goes, all I really know is that up until I hit peak season, I'm gonna be squeezing in as much as I can on Fridays and maybe a Sunday or a Sunday evening if I can go after my events. And then once it's peak season, it's going to be absolute go time, cram time. It's going to be a marathon. And that brings us to the number 5 obstacle, which is that I might just get burnt the hell out on this whole thing. Going to these theme parks is a ton of fun, but I'm sure you're aware that it's also a very physically exhausting endeavor. You are walking so many steps, a ton of miles each day. You're standing in the sun, you're exhausted, you're eating like crap, you're probably underhydrating. These are all things that I try to avoid, but I am worried that I might reach my physical limit for doing this. And I also just might reach my mental bandwidth capacity for this type of thing. I am a little bit worried that I might just stop enjoying roller coasters in general. There is too much of a good thing. That's a smaller concern, but I do just wonder if this whole thing is going to wear me out, and I might get to a point where I'm just going to choose to take a day off instead of going to like that one extra park that's going to push me over that 200 number. So stay tuned to find out. So join me, won't you, on this completely silly and entirely inconsequential quest to have fun. Along the way, I'll be sharing my first impressions of all these parks and these coasters, and I'll be sharing with you any tips, tricks, or strategies that I learn along the way. And if it's not obvious by now, I am a complete amateur at this. I don't know the best parks. I don't know the terminology. I don't know the people in the community. So hello, say hi, drop me some knowledge down in the comments, because I could use the help. I should mention, I firmly believe the best way to experience a roller coaster is screaming your head off. And since I typically travel solo, looks like I'll be. The first official stop of the tour is Six Flags Magic Mountain in California, which boasts a whopping 20 coasters. So if you want to see how that went for me, check out this video right here.